Similarly to a model huge refresh, Chevy is introducing but every other 1LE variant of the Camaro. Chevy's already amplified the remaining ZL1 Camaro, so now it's addressing the least effective Camaro equipped with the 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. And on paper, it receives almost identical gadget to the V6 1LE. It functions cooling improvements for the engine, transmission, and differential, huge 4-piston Brembo front brakes, and upgraded suspension. The suspension is basically what you discover on the standard Camaro SS, but with barely retuned shocks and springs for the lighter engine. That lightweight 4-cylinder additionally manner that it is going to be 100 kilos lighter than its V6 sibling, and it has a almost even 50/50ths weight distribution the front and rear. If it really is no longer enough, Chevy also adds launch control and no lift transferring, and the agency will still warranty any elements damaged even as being driven at the racetrack. The only arguably disappointing element on paper is that, like all of the other 1LEs, the engine gets no additional strength. Which means the 4-cylinder is running with the equal 275 horsepower and 295 pound-toes of torque. That puts it at the back of the V6's 335 horsepower, even though it does have about 10 more pound-toes of twist. So is it any a laugh? Properly, Chevrolet flew us out to Las Vegas to get an early flavor of the high overall performance, low displacement Camaro. We drove it for just about 3 laps of a small route at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Way to an exceptional chassis, the lightest 1LE feels keen to nuke. The chassis offers you plenty of caution as to whether or not the tail desires to take the lead, or the front desires to percent it in. And its braking and guidance are all very responsive and specific, making it easy to make amends for those underneath and oversteering situations. The one situations are in no way specially intense both, for the reason that 1LE gets definitely grippy tires. They may be Goodyear Eagle F1 tires which can be 245mm huge up front, and 275mm wide on the rear. Those are the identical specs because the tires on the V6 1LE and SS. The suspension and tire mixture effects in a vehicle that holds on properly in long, fast corners, and Chevy says the automobile is able to 0.97 grams on a skid pad. If there is a vulnerable point, it's that the 2.0-liter 1LE feels a bit tender on the right track. The tough cornering found out more frame roll than you would possibly need for a music vehicle, resulting in an automobile that feels reluctant to make quick adjustments to course. At the upside, it wasn't too jarring over curbs, and it should make the 2.0-liter Turbo 1LE without a doubt quite livable on public streets. This Camaro also has several driving modes, visiting, song and snow modes, the primary of which lightens up the steering. There's also a opposition mode, which is how we experience the car. It's activated by switching to music and pressing the traction manipulate button twice. This shuts off traction manipulate and puts the steadiness manipulate machine in the most lenient placing. It additionally weights up the steering. Heading in the right direction, the 2.0L and V6 traded benefits and downsides. While the 4-cylinder lacks top energy, the healthy torque within the middle of the rev band turned into honestly quite handy on track. The V6 has a far narrower power band, and it turned into problematic to keep in its candy spot. The benefit is going to the turbo, which required less shifting, and which was extra forgiving of tool selection. That is also an amazing thing due to the fact the manual transmission, shared between the 4-cylinder and the V6, isn't always all that splendid to use. It receives the job completed, however the throws are a tad long and not especially slick. One component we do miss from the V6 is the noise. The V6 with the lively exhaust or the performance exhaust sounds super. It's a complete sound. This is pressing and melodious and improves with revs. The 4-cylinder doesn't make that plenty noise, despite Chevy taking steps to extend the sound, and what's there isn't always terribly inspiring. The 4-cylinder 1LE performs a recording of a number of the higher noises from the engine through the speakers to make it louder and higher, specifically with a helmet on, but we failed to word a lot difference. For each person with a sturdy aversion to virtual sound enhancement, the speaker sounds can be closed off completely. All in all, the 4-cylinder Camaro in 1LE guise is a very laugh car. The engine is grunty enough. The chassis is playful and predictable without being punishing. It need to additionally be a greater low-priced way to get into a overall performance Camaro. Chevy hasn't introduced pricing, being undetermined at the moment. It's secure to count on it'll fee less than the V6 1LE, sincerely due to the fact the 4-cylinder Camaro is $1,500 inexpensive than the V6. The equipment list is almost same to the V6 1LE, even though, so the package deal might be going to be approximately the same in cost, that is $4,500 for the V6. We should probably see Chevy discounting the package deal a chunk for the 4-cylinder honestly to widen the gap. As such, we assume the faster 1LE will be proper around $30,000, perhaps just a bit beneath, in assessment to the V6's nearly $33,000 fee tag. This pricing also helps display the audience for the Camaro. Chevrolet instructed us that they are aiming at human beings that would generally keep in mind a little faster warm hatch, which includes a VW GTI, Ford Cognizance ST or Honda Civic Kind R, or in all likelihood a Subaru BRZ or Toyota 86. Whether the ones shoppers can be tempted by the Camaro is a tough name. It does sincerely provide a laugh rear drive characteristics that only the Toyobaru can fit, and the rapid engine rectifies the little coupe's dearth of torque. However, the Camaro also has risks. The GTI and Attention ST, whilst now not pretty as effective, are cheaper than we anticipate the Camaro to be, and that they offer extra practicality. And as soon as over the $30,000 fee factor, cars consisting of the sort R and Cognizance Rs provide extra electricity and torque, and the Rs offers all-wheel drive. That is all to mention not anything of the Ford Mustang EcoBoost, which, with the performance package, comes at just slightly over $29,000 and has extra strength and way more torque at 310 horsepower and 350 pound-toes. It will likely be interesting to see how the Camaro Rapid 1LE fares on this an increasing number of competitive performance automobile segment. It can provide on the amusing, however we're going to see if the performance to dollar ratio is good sufficient to get attention. The good news for Chevy is that is a low-risk pass, since maximum of the elements had been already evolved for the SS and the V6 1LE, it changed into clearly account of fitting them to the 4-cylinder. And the best information for the rest folks is that there is yet every other amusing sports activities automobile choice on the horizon.